Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The VCT continues. We've got NRG taking on BLÅHAJ. Apologies, we've been misrepresenting that team for the entirety of game number 1 and this entire series. No more is that going to happen as we look to jump on into Bind. My name's still Tanner Metro. I'm still joined by Ito, and the percentages feel like for NRG, they just get better as we head over to Bind.
Yeah, I mean, this is their home domain. This is their territory, rather. 77% win rate, as I just want to point out real quick. Stats courtesy of VLR.gg for this one. I mean, they've already played it earlier today as well in that best of 3 against Virtuoso, and they ran Yoru in that game. Lots to take in from that first map, though. It was a banger, albeit a bit of a one-sided banger. I mean, I don't know. What do you expect hanging on a map number 2, Tanner?
Yeah, I want to know if the agent selection changes, if we do see the Brimstone, if we do see that Yoru. Does that still allow NRG to play that same, just almost plant your feet and take it, and they do end up, winning like that, but are they allowed to play that same playstyle where Yoru seems to be a bit more tricky, kind of wants to move around a little bit and be a bit more baity? So I'm interested to see how that plays out. As we got a handful of solid plays. I just got to shout outs to the initiators for BLÅHAJ.
Right.
It was Blix and Zill over and over. They had rounds where they were coming up clutch. We also had one at the end. I think it was the first round win for BLÅHAJ. That was Strakes to pre-fire for a 3K, picking that one up. So there's definitely fight in the soul of the Sharks here. We just need to see it. But as you said, it's a really high win rate for NRG on Bind going into map 2. This is their map pick, so they are going to be on that attacking side first, as BLÅHAJ have opted into the defense. And it's a very scary place to be. I do want to see a map 3 because I, as a spectator, I want to see more split. You can only handle so much of it in your solo queue games. I want to see how people have started to adapt to the changes that have been made, especially when we have huge operator changes. That is one where we could also see the Yoru. We could also see the Brimstone coming in for those post plants. So hopefully we do make it to a map 3, but BLÅHAJ, they're definitely looking at an uphill battle here for map number 2.
I mean, considering it was your map pick that you lost 13-5, and that's a number that I feel like I always need to come back to because, I think the scoreline is pretty sufficient as a kind of a way to frame the storyline for how they did, but Bind is going to be a completely different beast. We do see that Brimstone being locked, which is immediately interesting to me. No Yoru, unfortunately, Tanner. Make sure to wipe up your tears, but we are seeing a Sky, so we're still seeing a new agent in play, just not the newest.
Yeah, not the newest. Makes me a little sad. That would be my first time being able to cast a game, and that agent, I mean, it's really something different when you see it in the hands of the pros, right? When you get to see the plays that they make, it definitely makes solo queue a whole lot harder because you're going to have these people that are insta-locking Yorus once they see Shanks or whoever their favorite player might be playing that agent pick. Unfortunately, we don't get that. We've already seen Bind today. And the Bind that we saw earlier in the day between 100 Thieves and the 5 Emperors was kind of a blowout. It kind of had the same feel as that Icebox, where it wasn't a complete blowout, but it was, 13-7. There wasn't a whole lot of times where we thought the opposition or the lower seeded team was going to win. Now coming into this one, again, I don't know what quite to expect with NRG starting on attack. Are they going to play that slow style? Are they going to try and lean on their defaults? Or are they going to play it a bit quicker here to try and come out ahead as we see a nice one-way smoke to kick things off over towards A? And there it is. Okay, so it's actually NRG on defense here to kick things off. And, I mean, that was aggression. So complete flip of the script here, Ito.
This is just kind of a way to set the pace, if nothing else. BLÅHAJ, they're kind of still dipping their feet in the water, trying to find out the temperature of it, and it's apparently going to be boiling hot. NRG, in particular, EU, was more than ready to take a fight there. What I'm noticing immediately from NRG, though, is that once they've given up that pick, they do rotate one player over. That's cool enough, but they've completely backed off all the way from aggression. They don't want to play that trading game. They don't want to extend too much for map control. They'll just go ahead and let BLÅHAJ take it from here. Not that they have to worry about any ultimates or anything of the sort, but we're not even seeing anything all too creative when it comes to setups. One thing that I think you're constantly going to see a ton here is how Daps uses those nice little birds. I can't exactly remember the official name for them. I'm just going to go ahead and call them birds. They're so good for info, and it can completely change things up, man.
So you hear the teleporter, so now they have to be wary of what's behind it. Saw him on the brimstone, and it's Shanks right behind him. The frenzy getting the better half of this one. No blinding call out, but it doesn't matter. Infinite still finding a way to get it done. Once more, Trakes, the last standing here, running out of time in a 1v2, and Shanks closes it out. Once more, who better than Shanks to pick up that round one close? That is, I think that's exactly how we expected it. And you kind of talked about not a whole lot of setup coming out from BLÅHAJ here. So I wonder how things are going to evolve. The economy, not really in a spot that they can force up. And I don't think the mental or the morale is there as well. I think at the end of the day, you try and fall back on those rifles and do the best you can in those rounds.
One correction I just want to say real quick. I don't know why I said Daps was on the sky. It's actually Infinite, but still same message applies, is because, you know, BLÅHAJ, they aren't going to be forcing up in this round, but I still think you're going to be seeing Infinite try to play with those flashes for info because of the noise that it makes. Probably not in this one. Looking like BLÅHAJ are just ready to get this one done with. Double smoke for some reason over towards Market. That's just a little bit of salt in the wound, perhaps, but you know, sure, maybe I got a name wrong here and there, but still the same stuff remains true from NRG. They are going to be playing this really info heavy, and this is going to completely decide the pace. Next round is going to be one, it's going to be a banger. I don't even know what to say otherwise. But for now, again, they're looking to get this done with ASAP. There is one kill that goes away of BLÅHAJ, but oh no. I think they're just going to be collapsed in upon. This is going to be so heartbreaking.
Yeah, that is... There's just nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. Yeah. Completely overwhelmed. Kills on 2, though. So already a bit of progress made as far as damaging the economy. It's not going to be an incredible bonus round coming on through. They are going to have to... not necessarily have to force up rifles, but you would assume that because they lost their SMGs, they do pick up those rifles. Now for BLÅHAJ, they have rifles. And the economy is a goose egg across the board for 4. So obviously this round means a lot, but it means so much more. We've seen, I think, a couple of teams going into that 4th round after losing the 3rd still feel comfortable forcing stingers. I don't think that's going to be the case here should they lose this round. The economy is just so bad. Now that owl drone going to go up. Paranoia comes on through. There's the dash. They call it out. Hot Hands able to stop the push from the other, and Shanks now on in a precarious position. Needs to be able to get on out. He should easily be able to walk through, but he's going to hang on to this angle just to make sure they don't give up showers, just to make sure they're not giving up ult orbs, right? That's one of the things you see a lot with Phoenix players is they are constantly being fed ult orbs for that run it back.
And they're pretty close to it, only 3 rounds into this mess. That was one thing I was actually going to note, is that I think they're going to be fighting a ton for this. And I love this like early excursion that we see from both teams, that paranoia just to retake control of it. And NRG, they've been rewarded for their efforts, but a double shock through. Oh, it's actually going to be coming from BLÅHAJ. That's a beautiful way to start things out. The duelist, Shanks, is taken down. So they don't exactly have that crazy dash play to use anymore, nor do they even have their smoker. And things are looking really good for BLÅHAJ because they've been slowly working for this map control and are being rewarded very handsomely for their efforts.
Infinite went unspotted around the box. The patience once more pays off for NRG, and the ring around the rosy in favor. Assam finds one through the smoke, doesn't stop the plant, but it is a 3v2. Now working against the clock as NRG as that Trailblazer goes through to get a bit of information. Leaping around, we'll see what the dog here can find. It spots one out towards short. Now they know Jalmok playing inside a U-Haul. So I'm going to push on through. Phantom in hand, and we've seen the spray and pray, baby. There it is again. You just hold W key, and it just works. Now Zill needs to go shoot for another, but it's Infinite. The sneaky Sky that was playing on this A site to close it out. And NRG, it started off bad. It started off with Shanks going down early, but they turn it around again.
3v5 there converted from NRG. And that... Tanner, before you asked, what makes, is the difference really that big between these two teams? Which team here is going to be the one that consistently converts those bad situations into something more? The answer is NRG. I really think it's just those crazy on a whim calls that are making the difference. Infinite, undoubtedly my pick for most valuable player in that round because of how he managed to even things up back into a 3v3. Obviously, he was finished off by different members of the crowd of NRG, but BLÅHAJ, they have to be hurting after that one, and the stinging sensation has to still be there because they're losing numbers so quickly, man.
Enemy remaining.
Oh, wait a second.
Bucky OP though, Ito. Can't forget Bucky
no
OP
way he does
though,
this, man.
Ito. At the very least, this hurts the economy so much here. 3 kills and Jake's finally able to sit him down, but man,
It's a solid NT, man.
Nerf the Bucky, huh? Nerf the Bucky.
Look, man, I feel I feel so vindicated right now. I've been preaching the Bucky has been insane since day one. And finally, people are truly starting to understand. It's such an absurd gun for its price. $900, and look what Hijinks got out of it. It's what you said before, Tanner. So much economic damage. And also, he's actually built his way up to a showstopper. So, really, it's not game-changing, round-changing, but it definitely is a little bit of an ego boost. It is a little bit of a potential engine that you now have online. A double satchel play into showstopper, not too unexpected, but it will be the Hunter's Fury that is the first thing that gets popped here from BLÅHAJ.
Thrown out, taken down from shower, so not gonna buy or get too much information, because they already know Shanks is there. With the jump peek over the top of that truck there, still not spotting anything else. So both teams, they're privy that people are here standing on the other side of the wall, but not 100% sure where they're headed. As Trakes, with the spike in hand, looking to rotate over towards this B side. A couple of trap wires set up to try and stop that flank from coming on over. And it's only Psalm here on that B side. Infinite has since rotated over towards A. And Zill actually grabbing that spike and heading back towards A. So this has been beautifully read by NRG, and a beautiful flash there. The information given that they're still there as well. Absolutely huge there for NRG. And BLÅHAJ working against the clock again. To get on seconds. Here comes the satchel charge. There comes the leap on in the flash, but it doesn't matter. Hijinks able to pick up the first kill to open things up. NRG now on the back foot. Shanks even does an infinite once more. Man of the hour here. Blix finally takes him down, but Franks is just out of time. He's outmanned, and NRG against all odds figure it out.
There's so much that happened there that it's kind of hard to keep track of. But NRG, the things that I said to keep your eye on heading into this game were used perfectly. I told you exactly. I mean, that sky is going to be so good. When everything was dead silent, they popped that bird in to try to find, hey, is there anything over here or over here by showers? The answer was a resounding yes. That had to be the cue for BLÅHAJ to push out. They used that double satchel play in, found 1 kill for their trouble, but then that's where Infinite was already sitting in the smoke. Their minds are moving so quick, man. I don't know. We're watching 10 different Albert Einsteins here. However, I think right now we found one who reigns supreme overall. Found 5 that reign supreme overall, and that's NRG. 1 brain for each round that they have so far. However, you're going to have to count it as number 6 soon because they're well on their way. Saw him with another running shot. I don't even know what to say anymore, man. They just completely switch things up at their own volition.
Yeah, I mean, Psalm, the king of the run and spray here. It's worked so many times for him, and it's kind of a meme, but it's working. So yeah, I mean, how could you knock it there? 10-0 on the Brimstone. Already 2 pips towards that ult after seeing it. So headed in the right direction once more. Even if at the very least, BLÅHAJ pick up a couple of rounds and they hurt the economy a bit, you have the blades from Shanks to worry about, who does get spotted out. Infinite able to watch his back there. Saw him pushing on up. This time not running and shooting. He plants his feet and he finds that first kill onto Hijinks. Blix able to trade it back, But even when things are even, they're uneven. I think right now, BLÅHAJ finally be getting themselves in the driver's seat. They're trying to creep on up, but that center console just seems to be in the way. The neural theft comes through. The information now given. And it's going to be Daps over towards the safe side, trying to hold it down. The wall is there. Xiaomok has made his way up into heaven. So trying to find the flankers. Not going to find Shanks. Yes, he is. He spots him, pushing to the back of the site. Now in a 2v4. This is looking incredibly winnable here for BLÅHAJ.
Spike planted on that note. Infinite, he does get that trade. We're back into a 2v2. He's also been tagged too, so they have an exact idea of where Infinite is located. Still, he's kind of flirting with the idea of actually peeking. Eventually, when he decides to, he gets completely shut down by Daps on that Sage. The healer is also one who can bring death. Trix is against two here, and he does find the beautiful spray onto the first, but the second seems to be a tall order, and he meets it anyway! Another time where he pre-fires based off of sound! And that is just amazing, man! BLÅHAJ, they get around on the board, but in the fashion that they did it, I'm sorry, but everything there was so well done. Zill, I understand that he only got one kill, but it was a kill onto the flanker into the neural theft, and then right on cue, BLÅHAJ decided, or excuse me, it was Xiaomok in particular, who used that from the shadows to teleport in over towards heaven, and that's when the A execute began. That was a beautiful round from BLÅHAJ, and yet it still went down to the wire, because that's just how good NRG are. You need to do it again. Have fun with that one, because NRG are already in your base. They're already trying to frag you out, and you have to go ahead and respect it.
Joke's over! You're dead!
There's a starter kill. And not nearly the finisher. Trades are going their way so far, but eventually all good things must come to an end, and this is where that solo factor from NRG starts coming into play. We were praising their teamwork previously, but right now, it's not so much the case. Shanks pushed in, was good for 2 kills, and then of course Daps was there as the finisher. 7-1, our scoreline now. And Tanner, I mean, I'm curious on your thoughts as well. I feel like I've been rehashing these same points. BLÅHAJ, they have shown one really great glimpse of glory, but overall it has been the NRG show. What needs to be done in your opinion?
I don't know what can be done, right? We already saw it in BLÅHAJ's map pick, where NRG, they just reign supreme in the most superior way, 13-5. Nice boost play here. Now you come over, and this is NRG's domain, and they are just okay to take everything away from you as Psalm picks up
Unreal.
2. It's going to be traded back, and it's an eco round. You can't expect too much here from BLÅHAJ, although the odds are even. There is a couple of vaults, so information here with the Seekers from Infinite, and Daps can look to find a resurrection.
What is this, Daps?
Yeah, the operator in hand takes the teleporter, so now completely stuck there. It could have been a bait since they haven't seen the omen, so maybe they could be expecting that it's a bait teleport or a fake from the omen. But Damp's now going to be creeping out. Surely they hear this, the Seekers get the information. There's the res. Now in a scary spot. They might just peek. He's actually going to bait out the peek with the res. Shanks makes it out on top of it all, and RG, it's just, I mean, polished is the way to call it. EU picks up 2 on the way out, and EU's been awfully quiet. Now making his way up that leaderboard.
Well, when everybody is seemingly popping off, when your team is up 8-1, there has to be one person who, maybe lagging behind isn't the right word, but who isn't getting all of the frags. In this case, it just seems to be EU, but he's getting involved. He's like, hey, get me in on some of this business. And BLÅHAJ are the unfortunate victims. Definitely anything but unfortunate if you're a fan of NRG. Up 8-1 at this point. They are looking insurmountable. But the game isn't done yet. We haven't even touched overtime, halftime yet, excuse me. And this is about where NRG are going to say, hey, let's have a little bit of fun with it. They just sent 4 people on top of an ice wall. Okay, we'll go ahead and talk about that one a little bit later, because it already has been completely evacuated, bailed upon, and there are the kills to match. BLÅHAJ now in a 4v2, once again have to do it all.
Now
Wait
it's
a sec.
2v2.
Last player standing.
Logo, make it one left. Daps, no res, just has the heal. Gonna have to go for it here. I mean, there's no reason not to just send it. We'll see how this play works out. The spike is down in Hookah, though, so it has this. It's able to need to worry about a handful of problems here. What could be a handful of problems in that ultimate in the cage is enough to back them away. They do send it out over towards long. Now NRG going to be creeping on up.
Oh my god.
Spike goes. We'll see. Dap.
They
End
didn't
of the
see
hour
him.
here. Dap see Mr. Fourth Quarter. Is that only Shanks here on this NRG? Now one tries to come straight out. Nice
bullets.
satchel to try and buy some time. It doesn't matter. High goes down and Dap, the man of the hour, a 9th round win.
As if they needed that in their favor. BLÅHAJ, I mean, are they even kicking themselves for that one, or are they just kind of feeling a little bit bitter and hopefully regaining their composure, looking to go again? Because we are reaching the end of this half now, and they do have a couple of more ultimates to use. Again, that's your daily ultimate check. Still a little bit of way from that run it back, mind you, but look, I understand that was overall a great 1v2, but at the same time, give a little bit of praise to BLÅHAJ, how they nearly converted that 4 versus 2 into their favor. That is by no means an easy task against NRG of all teams, much less, I don't know, a scrim team or something of the sort. Okay, the wall has been brought in, and Tanner, you gotta take this one away. I'm losing it right now, dude. I'm losing it.
That is tough. The Odins coming out from NRG. The teleport now, this time not going to be a fake. As EU just going to hold the angle, making sure nobody makes their way out of Hookah. Hijink's going to find the first. That judge in hand can be deadly. An attack from across the map. That's big. Starting to put BLÅHAJ in the driver's seat. The smoke goes through. Jalmok, finally somebody falls to the Odin. So NRG, they get a bit of return on investment, but it's looking like this round falling by the wayside. And no, maybe they take the next one a bit more seriously, Ito.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind, they're up 9-1. This is a round of 64 where, while upsets are definitely possible, NRG are one of those teams that I mentioned that have put their nose down to the grindstone and have still been competing in tournaments, while maybe others have been restructuring or taking a well-deserved holiday vacation, something of the sort. They're having fun with it, and I you know, at some point you just gotta go ahead and recognize that. Sure, they're gonna go for the meme wall strats and then Odins to completely destroy the ears of our viewers, but, you know, it looks like they're gonna completely abandon that strat. Possibly wonderful news for the headphone users, but also great news if you're a big fan of NRG. You can close this out earlier, and BLÅHAJ now have to deal with the op once again in Shanks' hands, as well as a wealth of rifles across everybody else on NRG. Now, what our observer has actually done a really good job of pointing out is that they're setting up for a dart immediately. I'm expecting this to be maybe a change of pace from BLÅHAJ. I think something quicker is kind of what they need right now. I always mention those pace changes, and I think now would be a perfect opportunity for one, assuming they don't get shut down, that is.
That's kind of tough to change the pace when Shanks is just mowing you down and you right there behind him. Nice kill through the smoke. Once more, that's spiked down, and BLÅHAJ just have not been able to catch a break against this NRG roster.
No,
ultimate behind though, and EU, he gets punished. A little BM there, trying to get a free ult on the way out. And an interesting wall. So the spike has since been picked up. Bathroom's not necessarily cleared out, as everybody's still hanging out over here for BLÅHAJ. And
Exactly where you
we'll see. Neural theft goes through. Flash comes out as well. Going to get the information. Psalm is there,
That's
walking
so good.
backwards. A beautiful play there for the NRG boys. Still is going to be able to get one back, but that is it. Only one. As NRG go into the half 10-2, and they look to things out here in 2-0 fashion.
Still a little bit of fun. I like it. You know, NRG, they're not going to try to take this super try-hard seriously, but my God, you can't help but just think maybe EU teleporting there was a bit of a silly idea, maybe not the optimal play in that situation. But as we look and reflect on that first half, there were a lot of highlights for the NRG side. I mean, that flash play towards the end, I think, is a really good, succinct summary of why that Sky is so good to bring out on Bind. Why Sky is so good? I mean, Stronglegs has been preaching that for a while. I understand now. But, I mean, we're only 3 rounds away from NRG advancing to the round of 32, Tanner. I want to believe in BLÅHAJ, but we need to see something this pissed around and not much later.
Not a whole lot of time, right? You have basically zero space for BLÅHAJ on the defending side. This pistol round going to be absolutely huge, and they play so far off this A side. 3 members over towards B, 2 towards Showers. Once more playing for that ult orb for their Phoenix.
This is straight out of April, dude. The wall up for the APC plant? This is so old. I love it.
And that's what happens when Sage makes her way back into the meta. Now everybody rotating over. One on the flank, that is Hijinks. You have to pay attention to the bottom side of that mini-map. This Raze could get heaps of value, but Infinite doing diligence to clear it out, but it doesn't matter. Hijinks with the first kill here, and Shanks, if we could just tell him to shoot and vice versa. Not going to be the case, though. Trace picks up that kill onto Shanks. Dap's going to trade one back, but NRG on the back foot. Down a man. Blick's going to get the spray down. He's got the blicky on him. He picks up a couple of kills.
Wow.
Make it 3 as NRG will fall, and a 3rd round picked up here. And a very, very important when it comes to momentum for BLÅHAJ.
This is what they needed. I said they need to get around soon. This pistol round and not much sooner. And how soon is apparently now. They finally get another one online. It's not unexpected, this buy-up from NRG. They're going to be bringing the Stingers to the table, as well as a single Spectre in the mix. I mean, actually, one thing I want to note real quick is that Skye has such a cheap kit. 600 credits, I believe, for everything in her arsenal. So, you know, again, imagine that you're going to be seeing a lot of flash plays through, and maybe NRG aren't taking this all too seriously right now. Again, they're up such a massive buffer, but another quick play, something similar to what they just did on their pistol, I think would work out very well for how BLÅHAJ are set up. There's the smokes in. We begin.
And we do begin. It's Psalm to kick things off. The run and gun pays off a bit more when you have the SMGs in hand. And Psalm gonna buy a bit of time, faked it a few just to see if anybody's gonna try and do anything crazy. Nice wall for the flanks. You no longer have to worry about that as Daps gonna secure that one. You can hear the stampede though coming from this defender spawn as the flashes go through. Paint shell is gonna be queued up. Psalm goes good for another, and Daps finds one too. The force starts to pay off, and NRG in full force storm onto this A site. And at the beginning, Ito, we said it, a bit of aggression coming out from NRG. Now on the attacking side, the 70+% win rate, you see how comfortable they are here, and they're looking to just close it out now.
They're in the driver's seat, if you would. They're in a prime position to finish it right here, right now. BLÅHAJ aren't going to take this one sitting down, mind you. They're not going to wait until match point to have all their rifles in play, all their util on the board. No, they're bringing Buckies. They're bringing Stingers to this. And we saw how crazy that Bucky is previously. And actually, it seems that NRG are at least going to be sending one player, Psalm, to kind of, again, dip his toes in the water and see what the temperature is like. And it seems to be rather shocking to him. Pun actually not intended at all. I didn't even mean to pull that one out. But he gets hit by a shock dart. And he's down to about 78 points of health here. So you might see him concede a little bit of space, respect it, get healed up by the Sage. NRG, what did they learn from that? There's people in hookah. So what's realistic here is that they have their options open for maybe a teleporter play, or just go ahead and hold the line, maybe find a kill right here. There you have it. One player pushing down mid. That's a freebie for NRG. The entire map opens up to them.
And it was Bucky's OP earlier. That time around, not going to be Bucky OP. And somehow Psalm has managed. Okay, finally he goes down, but he has just survived it all. NRG. The odds have been even in a 4v4. They storm this B site and they push everybody away. Now one flanking from this defender-sided spawn as that spike looks to go down. Blix can be the first to contact here, picks up the kill onto Daps. That's the Sage down and the weapon upgrade. Gun game right in front of our eyes. There is also a Phantom on the board here should they find that kill. EU from downtown with the Stinger doing Stinger things. Find another as Trace trades it back, and it's to the wire. It's to the 1v1. It's up to Shanks to get it done, and NRG are on match point.
I said they had the entire map in their hands, but I didn't think it'd come down to a 1v1 with Shanks, Mr. Fourth Quarter himself, having to step up, but he does. This is why he was brought onto the squad. That man, he knows how to finish things up here in BLÅHAJ. Again, it's a punch in the gut, man. So close. And such a great response as well. Consider what they had to work with now, Tanner. They had 2 Buckies and 3 Stingers, and yet they made it go down to a 1v1 against what was pretty actually heavy rifles, a heavy buy from NRG. It sucks to lose it like that, but BLÅHAJ, they have to go ahead, recoup from their losses, take it in stride, and move on to this next one. They have forced up everything they can, Tanner, and this might be the final hurrah. They need to win these opening fights, and that is their chance squandered. Zill goes down, Tanner.
Everybody on this A site going down. It's up to the 3 rotating here from BLÅHAJ, and it is looking incredibly dire. That Daps actually buys the attention as well from Hyjing. So that Ray's going to be a bit slower to it. Orbital Strike going to go just wide, and Shanks once more. A beautiful headshot onto Blix to try and close it out. EU on the flank. He will fall. But at what cost? The Shock Dart goes through. The kill actually going to get picked up here. Hijinks, the rotating member, able to pick up the paint shell, kills low HP. So this could be it. The judge, the clutch. Is this going to be it? Daps has since rotated over. NRG playing with the clock. He just has to stick it at the very least halfway. He's peeking over towards U-Haul, and he's shot in the back. NRG close it out 2-0.
But another respectful attempt from BLÅHAJ. Few rounds, 8 between the 2 maps, and yet I still couldn't help but cheer for them because 1, that underdog story is in their favor, but 2, the fashion in which they won some of the few rounds that they did have in their favor was really respectable. Yeah. This is a team that I'm not sure if they're just a pug team put together for the VCT, or if this is a team that's constantly grinding, trying to make things, trying to make deep runs into any tournament that they can enter. But I respect it. I think there's a lot of promise in some of these players, but you're just up against NRG. Yeah. I want to see them grind it out, but at the end of the day, it's a 2-0, and NRG, they will be moving on to the round of 32. I'm not sure who they're facing up against, however.
Yeah, I know the bracket. I think I saw in chat during the break that the bracket, all of the websites basically have kind of made it hard to see that bracket. So many clicks and so much traffic to those. So unfortunately, we are unsure as to where they are headed outside of that they're going to the round of 32. And I think what we saw in the round of 64 is exactly what we saw in the round of 128, right? A really strong team playing a team that is still just trying to figure it out. And NRG obviously have put their time in, had their dues, and put their licks in. Same thing goes for 100 Thieves. And as far as 5 Emperors and BLÅHAJ, they just go back to the drawing board. The best part about it all is if you don't make top 8 now, you have top 4 in the next open qualifiers and the one following to try and re-qualify. So a handful of chances to make a name for yourself. And I think at the very least, you probably learned a lot from this, right? There's winning and there's learning. Lose is improve. There's so many sayings like that. And when you're playing some of the tier talent, you can go back on a broadcast like this or watch and see what you could have done better. And I think at the end of the day, knowledge is the biggest victory for both of the teams that we saw go home today. And then knowledge to be carried into that next open qualifier. Now, unfortunately, as Ito said, the round of 32 is coming up, but that is going to be tomorrow, Ito. I want to get your thoughts, though, on kind of the day as a whole. This matchup obviously being fresh on our brains, but jumping back to 100 Thieves and 5 Emperors as well.
I obviously wasn't able to watch all the games. I only have so many eyes, and I had to really focus on this one. So I can't really speak for all the other games that went on, the TSM games, the T1, etc., etc. But just for the ones that we saw on stream, there's some promise for sure. 100 Thieves and NRG, these are 2 tournament-winning teams. They have been around the block. They have gotten their licks in, experience across multiple games, I think all of them. It's hard to try to upset when you're a no-logo pug team or a new team or a team that maybe didn't make it super deep into some of the more local tournaments. But this is where you can get that experience, where you can grow, quite honestly. Round of 128 and round of 64, let's be honest here, you're not going to be seeing the most upsets, but we still got some really good games out of this. I'm not going to forget that 13-8 bind between 5 Emperors and 100 Thieves. That was actually a really fun game to watch. There's highlights all around. I mean, lots of respect to the teams that got first rounded or even second rounded here. If you don't move on, that's okay. You have another chance, like you mentioned, but keep your nose to the grindstone. I've said that 3 times today, but this is the final time, I swear. Stick true, and you're going to be happy with your results. That's all I got.
I mean, I think that's all that you can hope to do, especially a team, like I said, knowledge is going to be one of the biggest things that you pick up in a loss against some of these stronger teams here, if not the best teams here in the tournament. As we do have our Mike and Ike sweet play of the day queued up for you guys, and it is going to be none other than actually on the losing side of things. I believe we're tossing this one over to Hijinks, getting it done.
Oh, well, it's a beautiful graphic and a more beautiful play right here. The final 3 shots with this Bucky. I mean, look at this third one, too. You were talking about how insane the Bucky is. I don't understand. Every bullet must have gone into the head there. He has, like, a homing device. I don't know. It's, like, crazy expensive ammo in order to hit that one here. But with 1 HP, at the end of the day, he did not win that round, unfortunately. Spoiler alert, but I don't know. It's a great play. It's flashy, and it's from an underdog. You always love to see it.
Yeah, I think flashy plays, we could even go back to Icebox, and Trace picked up a solid play in their first round win where picks up a 3K, he pre-fires a corner, he kills Shanks, stopping him from defusing, and so I think there is a lot for BLÅHAJ to kind of look back on and rejoice about as we see NRG be the team that does move forward. So, I mean, solid across the day as a whole. Round of 1, round of 64. There is a lot of Valorant left, and I'm not too sure where things are headed. I hope everybody got a chance to check out some of those other games. I know that I'm going to be headed back into some of those community streams to check those out to see how the teams did. But guys, I don't want you guys to forget one of the huge partners here helping us out for this broadcast in HyperX. We talked about them a bit earlier. We're running it back for you guys. As you can see, Ito building up the HyperX thing there, guys. And every day, billions of people wake up, eat, and fire up a game. That is just about everybody, I think. Fire up a game as a part of their daily routine, whether it be console or PC, casual, which is a lot of you, or pro. No matter your creed, color, or culture, we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. You saw Ito holding up the microphone, whether it be headsets, microphones, keyboards, mice, the mouse pad that actually I'm using right now because it's large and in charge. HyperX really gets it done. Now, as far as the day goes, round of 128, by the wayside, we saw 100 Thieves take that 2-0 victory. Round of 64, by the wayside, 2-0 victory going over to NRG. I know that we're not going to be here tomorrow moving throughout the tournament, but based off the 2 teams that we saw today and some teams that we're expecting to see moving forward, what are some thoughts on the round of 32? I guess maybe we just talk about NRG because we know specifically that they're moving forward. Do you think things stay the same? Do you think that we still expect to see that passive play style where they do hold stalwart on defense and they just plant their feet and bang?
Well, they move a lot quicker when it comes to playing post plants, whether it's them themselves who get the spike down or it's the enemies who do. They always move quickly at the right time. They have an incredible grasp on the pacing of the game, quite honestly. I could see them going far, but I think round of 32 and round of 16 is where you're going to be seeing a ton of upsets. Your favorite teams might not make it in because it's a brand new year, man. So many roster changes have come through. Some teams have taken a well-deserved break. I mean, that is just the perfect setup for a potential upset or two. You know, it's undeniable. As for my expectations, it's hard. NRG, I just think, have such a good grasp on the game. I think they're only getting better with time, and this was no exception. It's a round of 64 team, sure, but man, they looked good while finishing this up 2-0.
Yeah, they did it in one of the best ways that you could get it done, especially on your map pick. Now, as we've been saying, that unfortunately does things for us today, but that does not stop the Valorant action as we've got that round of 32 picking up tomorrow at the same exact time, guys. That stream is going to be live at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time for you guys to jump on in and catch that action. Brighton, I guess not bright and early, but nice and comfy into the evening I guess, yeah, it does depend on where you are. But 7 p.m. is when the games are going to be kicking off Eastern Standard Time. On behalf of myself, Ito, the production crew has been awesome. Our observers as well. We want to thank you guys for tuning in today, and we'll see you guys in the chat tomorrow.